Neil, how has the international break been for you?
It's not been as relaxing as I thought it would be. We've had a lot of work to do, really. A lot of looking at, as you can imagine, at this time of the season, sifting through players and etc. for for the end of the season. So it's been a little bit, well, should I say, a little bit boring rather than refreshing.
And now you get the chance, though, for one final push, don't you? Which I assume you're all ready and raring to go for.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that we've lost some of our better players for the running. I would have loved to have seen us having a go with a full squad, But that's how it is. It's been a difficult period, and we've put ourselves in a good position. And it's just disappointing that we've not been able to push on really and cement that place, which I think we should have done. But we're learning all the time, and I'd like to think that some of the lads have got that another 12 months behind them now and know what's expected.
How difficult is it then for you when you know it is still possible to get into the top six? However, the odds might be stacked against you or whatever. How difficult is it for you to balance that? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's frustrating for me, probably more so because of my age, really. I think, when you're younger, you can, there's always another 2 or 3 years down the line, and you come into a club and you say, I'm going to build a club for the next few years and all that lot. But it's, for me, it's important that we do well at this moment in time. And I am disappointed and frustrated that we're not clearly in that top six. I think we've had enough opportunities this season, and we've been one extreme to the other, really. We've been very, very good and very disappointing.
That was an announcement to say we're going to have a fire alarm test in this building after the news, so that'll be fun. But we'll deal with that when it happens. So massive Easter weekend for you. Bournemouth away first, and then Watford at home on Monday. They are games to relish, aren't they?
Yeah, I think I think Bournemouth have got, if not the best squad, they've got as good a squad as any, and Watford are absolutely flying, and they, all their Premier League players seem to have hit the form at the right time. So it's a good. Like I say, it would have been great to have played against these teams with a full squad. But as always, it always seems to be your better players that get injured, and it's one of those things I've just had to bite my tongue and get on.
Just bring us up to date with the situation with the squad, because it's been a couple of weeks, obviously, since the Millwall game. How is it looking?
We've had a couple of knocks in training, which has been disappointing. But overall, it's the same squad. There'll be this pick from the same squad then, really. 8 games to go. 1 or 2 lads have still got things to show me, and sometimes I think to hell with it now. I don't think anybody gives us much of a chance now. So I feel we might as well have a go now, and if we get beat, we get beat,
And I know we talked about this before, about the pressure, in a sense, not being on because it's a long shot, but the same applies, doesn't it? And obviously it's important for you to get that across to the players and to try and go out and relax and just try and win the matches.
Yeah, I mean, I told my lads the team on Monday, which is unusual, and I said, look, that's it, this is what I'm going to do, and let's have a go. I want to see us have a go, really, and that's the one thing that disappointed me in that first half at Millwall, and I don't want another 45 minutes like that. I don't mind getting beat if we give it a good shot, and but certain things I can't tolerate, and I am like that. I let my feelings known, and players know that. They know it's gone out the door the next minute, but it's just moment to time. It's like my fines with the FA. They're just sort of instant, aren't they, after the game, really?
I was going to say about you were very honest with us about the strikers after the Millwall match. And have you seen from them over the past couple of weeks something that gives you a bit of heart?
Well, I think other lads have had opportunities in training as well. It's been it's whilst there's no pressure on with the international break, I think we've got other lads around the place that's busting to get in the team as well. So it's been good to see those lads trying to find a place, and obviously young Josh as well from the under-18s. he can't tell you how much he's improved in the space of sort of 6 weeks training with us. So, he'll be getting a chance before the end of the season. But I think these 3 games, a little bit tough for him. But I'm sure he'll get a game before the end of the season.
And it's a big day for Jonathan Woodgate, isn't it? You obviously replaced him at the Boro. He's gone down there to Bournemouth, and in rather unusual circumstances finds himself being in charge and in with a shout at the playoffs. It'll be a bit of an emotional afternoon for him, won't it?
It will, but I think I think you've got to have a bit of luck in football. I think John's had a bit of luck taking over at Bournemouth. So you've got to grasp it, haven't you, and enjoy it. I think he's a lovely lad when I met him. So I've nothing. I think he's got as good a chance as anybody of getting in the playoffs with the squad he's got. He's aware of that. I think they beat Swansea very easily last time out. I look on with envy at some of the players he has at his disposal, especially this weekend, especially with the Irish lads, playing last night. And I think he had the trainer on 4 times, didn't he, Paddy?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, have you heard anything from last night as to how Paddy and George are?
Well, obviously they lasted the game, so nothing, nothing other than that really. But he did take some blows. I was hoping he'd be playing at the back, but he put him in forward. But there's no chance of resting Paddy, is there? He takes every free kick. The only thing he doesn't take is a goal kick.
Neil, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Aidan from Sky.
Aidan from Sky. Where are you? Got you early, yes, mate.
How are you, mate? All right, nice to see you. Just quickly, I just wanted to know, you said the break's been a bit boring for you because you've been sifting through player names in readiness for next season and stuff, but how beneficial has it been for the players? Because this schedule is something we've never seen before at any level of the game.
It is a difficult one, Aidan, because, yes, I agree with you. But the trouble is, when they have time off like that, when they've not had it, when it's been so pressurised, every 2-3 days, you don't half pick up injuries that you never envisaged before. It's such a fine line between resting and training and the injuries that you pick up out of nowhere, really. So, it's not been the greatest international break that I've known, if I'm honest, this time. I would have liked to have gone through 8 more games, really. But it is what it is, and we've just got to get on with it. And we've picked up another couple of injuries, etc. Which I have to be hopeful that they're okay. But with the Irish lads away as well, you do some planning and you talk about how we're playing, but Sav and Paddy, we haven't even they don't know the team yet. And I have had a chat with them both, but it's so difficult with those two. They're not coming back. I think they're flying to Southampton later on this afternoon and meeting up with us at the hotel. I mean, it's. I just hope if they play the two of them that none of them pick up a serious injury, because it's very it's. In particular, I didn't want to play either of them if I could, but we've had 1 or 2 knocks, and it looks like I'm going to have to.
So if someone has said, you said you were disappointed to be, in the first half at Millwall, you were going into the run-in without the full complement of players that you want at your disposal. But if someone has said to you at the start of the season that you'd be in within a chance of going level with Bournemouth on points on Good Friday, with their budget, you'd have taken that, wouldn't you? Absolutely,
yeah. When I looked at the losses that, Bournemouth, a club like Bournemouth, £60 million losses, and it shows how important the Premier League is to clubs. And so I would imagine there's more pressure on them because nobody expected us to be there. But it's your own pride, really, Ed. And my pride tells me I know we should be up there and we should be better than even with, the resources and the squad that we've got. We should have got more points on board. So that's the frustrating thing for me. I think, having said that, I have to say to you, the pressures we're under now are nothing at all compared with last season, where you couldn't see a point at times in the training ground. You didn't know where next goal was going to come from, let alone a point. And you're trying to keep a top club in the Championship. It's that is the pressure, really. I wouldn't swap that for it again, if I'm honest. So it's nice to be at the other end, but you get greedy, don't you?
Just looking at Bournemouth, I suppose you were in a similar situation with Cardiff at the start of last season. They came down with parachute money. There's also a lot of pressure to go back up, isn't there? Even if you've only had a year in the Premier League, because as you say, it's so important. Do you think it's too difficult almost to put pressure on those clubs to go straight back up? And do owners understand how hard it is to get back there at the first time of asking?
Well, I think different clubs and different owners have different ideas, really. I mean, Watford, they seem to change their manager, quite a lot, don't they? And it worked up till probably getting relegated in the Premier League. And then you've got other clubs that are more sensible and stick with the managers, etc., and hope they can come straight back. But what some of the owners don't realise is this is a hell of a difficult league, if not the most difficult league there is to get out of. And yes, the rewards are great. But we are, as a club, we're in a situation where I wouldn't ask Steve to jeopardise the club. He's already pumping 30 million quid in. I mean, it's all right. People saying, we should be spending this or we should be buying him. And it's not their money, is it? When you put in 30 million quid in, it's it takes a big dint out of you. So it's I'm very pleased to be working for Steve Gibson. I've got to tell you, I am really proud to be at Middlesbrough. I'm working for him as well, and I think that's what helps me. I get frustrated because I know I want to show Steve that we should be in the top four, and we're not. Whatever we are where we are. So that's a frustrating thing for me. But we have improved a lot, and but we've got to get a lot better before we're pushing up in that top six.
You hinted at it a few minutes ago. I mean, were you surprised that Woodgate ended up at Bournemouth? I mean, he gets sacked from Middlesbrough and ends up at a club with a huge budget, albeit with a lot of pressure behind him.
Well, I say good luck to him. As I said, when I met Jonathan, he was a lovely lad. So I've no problems with Jonathan. Sometimes you learn a lot. Sometimes it's hard when you manage your own club, you're where you've been brought up with. You've got critics everywhere, probably telling you where you're going wrong. And as a young manager, you've got to have the right staff. I think Jonathan would admit, really, if he had his time again, he would probably get somebody a bit, not like me, but a bit experienced to work with. But when you go to a club like Bournemouth, I'm not saying you can't go wrong, but you've just got to put them in the right frame because they've got the good enough players to win the league, let alone get in the playoffs. So it's a different type of ball game, to creating a team, to having a team that's really already established,
Just finally, for me, there's some reports in the last 24 hours that Burnley are interested in Dale Fries. Are you ready for the Premier League, and are you anticipating losing him, in all honesty?
No, not at all, no. I saw the figures mentioned. I mean, that wouldn't buy his left lace, let alone his body.
Thanks, Neil. Cheers. I've got my QPR mug as well, by the way.
Oh, well done, Aidan. Aidan, I was looking through. When I come back, I've been up in my loft, and I've got so many. My missus wants to chuck all my shirts and all my memorabilia away, and I've got hundreds and hundreds. And I found 2 great signed shirts at QPR, and other pictures and stuff framed. And then I went through everything right back to my Scarborough days. So I think when I come back up in the summer, I'm going to bring all my memorabilia and I'm going to auction it off for charity.
I'll put a bid in.
Because she's only going to chuck it away when I've passed away, isn't she? So,
yeah, I'll bid for that, Neil. Seriously.
So I'm going to bring it all up here and we're going to put it out. I mean, I got signed like Ruud Gullit shirts and some of these. I had a great photograph with 1 or 2 players, ex-players over my period, and then some of the shirts and whatever that were signed. David Beckham signed an England shirt to me when we got promotion at one place and things like that. I'm sure we'll be able to generate some. I don't know which charity yet, but we've got so many good charities up here, and I think, well, we might as well use it now, haven't we? And get a few.
Seriously, keep me in mind because I'd like to bid for some of that.
No problem. Cheers, then.
Cheers, Neil. All the best.
Thank you.
Mark Tulip, BBC.
BBC. Mark, come on, Mark.
Morning, Neil.
Hi, Mark.
I'm assuming from what you said earlier, you were watching the Northern Ireland game and you get sort of Paddy sort of very heavily involved, clash of heads in the first half and all that. I mean, is your heart in your mouth when you're watching players that you might need on the weekend sort of involved in internationals?
It is really, because like I said, we have had a few knocks this week. So I was going to rest Paddy and Saf because it's asking a lot to come from Wednesday night, a tough game like that, to Friday afternoon. But at the moment, yesterday in training, it looked like we're going to have to use them. So, it was a little bit difficult watching the game, I must admit. But I was glad he was taking all the free kicks. He kept out of the hustle and bustle then.
You've kind of talked about the underdog mentality, that you might as well just have a go at it. You are perhaps the outsiders. Do you think in that respect, Bournemouth and Watford have perhaps got more to lose?
Definitely. Crikey, yeah. I mean, I think Watford now, they'll be disappointed if they don't automatically go up. They've had a really good run, and when you look at the quality of their players, wow, and I think Jonathan, they said they're going to get, they've had 2 or 3 injured lads coming back as well, so they've got a great chance in the running. And that's why, if we're going to go down, I want us to have a go, and that you'll see from my team selection. That's what I'm going to do, because I don't want to end up like a damp squid. I'd rather get beat 4 or 5 and have a go than stalemates and not creating anything.
But I suppose while you're still in with a shout, that's sifting through players. There's an element of that on the back burner while you've still got a chance of the playoffs. Well,
there is an element to that. But if I'm totally honest, I think it's a time now where you've nothing to lose, really, Mark. I think you've just got to have a go. A point's no good to us anyhow, is it? So we might as well try and get the points. Like I say, if we get beat, we get beat. I think the next 3 games are the toughest we could have, aren't they, really, when you look at Bournemouth away, Watford at home and Barnsley away. They're not going to be any tougher than that, and it looks like we're going to be, we're going to be a bit short in the squad as well. Looking at what I saw yesterday, so we'll just have to do the best we can, really. And sometimes the best form of defence is attack, isn't it? Really.
Neil, just a final one from me. We have had a league table published. I think certainly Premier League and Championship, the amount of money that clubs are paying to agents. I think Boro mid-table. Bournemouth and Norwich are right up there because obviously they were in the Premier League. But generally speaking, do you think just paying too much to agents?
Well, it's something it looks like that. But I mean, I've got to say there are good ones. You need help at times as well. If you get the right agent, then they've got to make a living, haven't they? The thing is, when they come to Middlesbrough, they've got a hell of a job to get paid. So they earn every penny, I think, at Middlesbrough, from what I can see. I wouldn't want to be an agent coming to Middlesbrough, if I'm honest.
Great stuff, Neil. Good luck. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Simon,
where are you?
Hi, Neil. I think we've pretty much covered everything. I've just got one. I just wondered, is this one of the more unusual sensations and feelings you've had in your career? Because you've done the extreme pressure of promotions and relegation battles. You know that the season's gone pretty well, but you're frustrated it hasn't gone that little bit better. Is it like a slightly unusual one for you?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean, I'm normally not bad with with frustrations. It just disappoints me when I know how close we are to becoming a better side than what we are, and that's what frustrates me. And I think sometimes you've got players who I feel could have done a little bit more. And you feel a little bit disappointed in that. I do, because I think we, like I say, we could quite easily be 3 or 4 positions higher than what we are. So it's just a matter of you don't want to be in this situation. If we win every game, we'll be in the playoffs, won't we? So we're still in there with a shout, but I don't think consistency-wise that we're anywhere near the top sides that you see now, because they've got they're a little bit more consistent than what we are, and that's what you've got to be.
It's good for me. Good luck for the weekend, Neil.
Thank you.
Moose from Hospital Radio.
Hospital Radio, Moose, are you? You're not in hospital, Moose, are you?
No, I'm not. Your press officer's being facetious. How are you, Neil? You all right?
Very well, thank you.
I'm gutted that you're talking about auctioning stuff off, by the way, in case you pass away. I mean, that's years and years down the road.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah, you were talking about trading before about
And well, you don't know what's around the corner, Moose, do you? Really? I just think
you should be telling your good lady you want to keep your memorabilia. Anyway,
I sneeze me, and I think I've got pneumonia. I don't know about you, Moose. I think blokes, we're all a bit pimpish, aren't we? Really, us lot. We feel everything, Whereas women, my missus, she never takes a tablet or anything. She's such a brave, Women are a different breed to us. We're wimps, aren't we? Really, blokes.
Yeah. Excellent. Let's talk football. I get the impression from listening to you this morning that the Championship very much is about the bigger budget teams are going to succeed. There are obviously one or two exceptions, and Barnsley I would throw it into that. But generally, if you've got a bigger budget, you're going to succeed. Is that fair and accurate?
Yeah, I think generally, Moose, that's at every league really. Premiership as well. I think money does talk, but I don't think it's the defining. I don't think money has stopped us from being in the top six, Moose, if I'm honest. So I think it's possible. Like you said, Barnsley have done fantastic on a low budget as well. So I think it's possible, and especially in the Championship, to get a team in that top six that's not in the top 5 or 6 budgets. But money does help. That's the same everywhere.
It's not a coincidence that 3 of the top 6 are 3 that came down last year and have had parachute payments in Norwich, who kept all their players top, Watford kept all their players pretty much second, and Bournemouth, who are knocking on the door of the playoffs.
No, and like you said, they've all more or less kept the players. Even Bournemouth have kept most of the good players, haven't they? So, they all realise, the owners, that the best chance they've got is keeping hold of the players and trying to talk them into performing in the Championship, and some can and some can't. And this year, all 3 clubs really have done very well to not just keep the players. I like Daniel at Norwich. That seems to be a club that you look at, and there's a manager that you know what you're getting with them, and it's a well-run club. I've always got on well with Delia and everybody down there. So that's how to do it, really. But I don't think it'll be the same this year. I don't see teams relegated running away with it, if I'm honest, next year. I think it might be a more of a level playing field next year, Moose.
You mentioned Norwich there, obviously staying with Daniel Farker, Burnley staying with Sean Dyche. You were advocating how great your chairman, Steve Gibson, is, and I think most people would agree with you on that in terms of his loyalty to managers. Were you a bit surprised in your old club, Sheffield United, made the change with Chris Wilder, or Chris Wilder left, however you want to put that situation?
I mean, you don't really. I mean, Chris has been there a number of years. You do become, as a manager, you do think sometimes you need a change. You need a different wallpaper to look at in the morning, and I'm sure that was more mutual than I think. I think probably Chris felt the same as well, really. So it didn't surprise me at all, if I'm honest. And Chris will pick up a really good job, and he'll have that enthusiasm again. And I think you need that as a manager. I think you can be too long at one place. He's unlucky, really, Chris, because the job he did, to say that Bramall Lane didn't have any crowds, it affected Sheffield United more than ever any other club in the Premier League this pandemic. They were flying high, top 8 or something like that when the pandemic hit. They had a bad end of the season, and they had a bad this season. And you need crowds in Bramall Lane. You need that 12th man. You need the pressure that crowds put on you, and there's no better place. And I'm told that's the same at the Riverside, if I'm honest. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to crowds getting behind the team and raising the roof, really, with the noise. So like I say, I'm sure Sheffield will sort. I'd be interested to see who they appoint, and likewise where Chris goes.
I mean, you're a chap that likes to interact with the crowd. Are you looking forward to them coming back next season so you can hear what their advice that they give to you as a manager?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's part and parcel, really. Even when you're reporting on the radio, it's not the same, is it, without a crowd, and they make your reporting far more, vociferous that when you hear the noises and that. And I think it's, if it had been like this much longer, I think I would have retired, because you can't. It's a certain type of of job at the moment where you've got no, you hear every squeal. That's why the penalties are given. You can hear the squealing of these players now so loud, and referees think they've been killed. I think some of these players, so that's why they give penalties.
So the vaccine and getting out of this pandemic has not only saved lives, but saved your career. Because you'd have packed it in, would you, if it had gone on for another season behind closed doors?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't have packed in with Steve. I just said to Steve I'd come and help him. So, and I've enjoyed it that much. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed it. Yes, it's been frustrating, but I used to think like that about London. I thought I'll never go to London. If I ever went below Watford, it's the pits. And I end up at Crystal Palace with Simon and QPR, a fabulous time, and love London. And I never thought the North East I'd ever be up here again, having turned Sunderland down once. But it is lovely. Yesterday, Moose, I went out on my bike yesterday, supposed to do 20 kilometres, and I got lost, and I ended up doing bloody 40 kilometres. And it was nearly pitch black when I come in. We're absolutely cream crackered, I were. So, but it were all flat, 40 kilometres and hardly a hill in it. It was, it's unbelievable up here. Some of the scenery up here.
I'll have to come up one day, but not soon. I want to finally ask you about Jose Mourinho. Now, you're well past the 1,000 managers, having done, 1,000 games club.
1,500, most well past 1,500, son, not 1,000. They're just youngsters, thousands.
Yeah, Mourinho's about to join the 1,000 club. He's nowhere near your 1,500 club.
Right,
then.
Thank you.
How difficult is it to be a manager that adapts over years and years and years to get to 1,000 games, 1,500, whatever it is?
Well, you can't survive without being good at your job. That's a cert. You can't. There's a lot of bull. People that I can't say that word, but you know what I mean, don't you? There's a lot of stuff thrown out about managers and how good they are and what have you. But I think the answer is, what do you win and how's your tenure? What do you do at clubs? My thing about management is I've always wanted to leave a club in a better position than when I took over. That's all been my intentions, and I think I've done that really. So it's. Mourinho, funnily enough, I was lucky going through all this memorabilia. Like I'm going to auction it off, Moose, and there were two fabulous photographs sent to me, my wife Sharon and me and Jose, because she loved Jose, and so she on the letter that came, he said, "Dear Sharon, please find these two enclosed photographs of your two favourite handsome men." Me and Jose, you see. So I thought she might have just crossed me out with a pen like that. Good-looking lad, isn't he, him, really? Bloody hell. So it's... carry on. Sorry.
Where would you put him in the pantheon of managers that we've had in the Premier League in Premier League history? Because you've got Sir Alex, that was a long time, Arsene Wenger, Jose.
Well, I don't think... In today's game, I don't think Alex would have lasted long. Because I think he had 4 years without winning anything, and I don't think you'd get that nowadays. So I think you've got to put things in perspective, really. I think, Jose, he might not be everybody's cup of tea, but, have a look at what he's won. I've got a lot of time for him, me. He always texts me 2 or 3 times a year, and I do him. And it's just, you just admire people like that, don't you? And by the way, I must tell you, Moo, sorry, I'm just interrupting again. My 2 photographs that were sent to me by Vicky Orfis. Can you remember Vicky, who passed away? Wonderful journalist, and I had to smile because she always used to make me laugh because she said I was better looking than him. So that's why I always liked Vicky.
Yeah, she was kind, Vicky. She often didn't tell the truth, but she was kind. I'm joking. This is the last one on Jose. If you texted to congratulate him when he gets 1,000 games, what would your advice be to go on to kick on for the next 500?
Well, I probably will text him on it if it is 1,000 games to say, obviously with him being a baby in the game, I hope that he can continue and eventually catch me up. But I wouldn't imagine he'll be looking that far ahead at the minute. I think he'll just be
Brilliant
looking
stuff, Neil.
at
Good to see you.
getting his first cup win against Man City. I think that'll be his first option.